In John chapter 2, Jesus performs his first miracle, turning water into wine. Long story short, Jesus gets invited to this wedding with his disciples and his mom is there. The wedding runs out of wine. She runs over to him and she's like, "Hey Jesus, they're out of wine." And Jesus hits her with one of the most out-of-pocket lines in all of scripture, which is, "Woman, what does this have to do with me?" It sounds out of pocket, but it's really not. Jesus knew that he had the ability to do something about this problem, the lack of wine. But how did Mary know? Or at least that was his question. He's saying, if they're out of wine, why are you telling me like I can do something unless you're asking me because you really believe that I can do something? I believe that because Mary went to Jesus expressing her dependency for him to do a miracle in their lives, he actually did. But don't miss it. Jesus was at the wedding and they ran out of wine. See, just because Jesus is there doesn't mean there's not going to be a problem. We have to actually ask him to do something about the problem. It also shows our dependency on Jesus in our marriage. In the beginning of the wedding celebration, I'm sure it was a blast, which is essentially the honeymoon stage of all of our relationships. But what happens when that honeymoon runs dry? What happens when our relationship runs out of wine? Most people look at themselves and figure out if they can come up with a solution to this problem. But this bride and groom had no chance on their own to get more wine to this party. If by some chance they could have found something, it probably would have just been very minimal, but it wouldn't really have sufficed. But don't miss it. Jesus was there. The only problem was he had to be asked and invited in to move. Once he was asked, the Bible tells us that in modern day calculations, he actually provided 120 to 180 gallons of wine. See, the bride and groom had a problem, but when Jesus was the answer, he actually gave them an abundance of what they needed. John 10:10 says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." That is who Jesus is, and that is his heart for us. When you have a problem, an issue, a struggle, don't look to yourself to fix it or figure it out or for the solution. Even though you may find something, I promise you it does not compare to the solution that Jesus has for you, which is abundance. So I hope this video helps you understand just a little bit more of who Jesus was, why his life matters, and how it applies to you. Stay tuned tomorrow for day 3 where we will discover Jesus just a little bit more together. God bless.